Okay. Last time was pretty much just a big brawl. You had been leaving from the ruins of this Duragar outpost, and you were ambushed by a group of drow, seemingly here for a purpose to try and either kill or capture or who knows what the group. About 2/3 of the Duragar who were with you, unfortunately, had died in the attack. But through a combination of a lot of running, hitting, slicing, spellcasting, explosions, etc., able to defeat the drow, taking one of them actually alive, one of the warriors.
And it's interrogation time.
Yeah. You recovered a weapon called a death lance from one of the drow who were slain. And you also recovered what seemed to be a magical hat of some sort from them, which so far all you know of what it does is it shifted to some sort of tricorn-like hat when it was taken off of the head of the drow. And that's pretty much where we left it, just right after the battle. The Duragar did give an indication that they were going to, the three remaining ones at least, were going to head out immediately back to Gragglestug to report that the outpost was destroyed and there were both demons and now apparently drow roaming around wanting to kill people. So that's where we'll leave, or that's where we'll start, rather.
One thing I want to mention, the crystal wand that we got, who has that right now?
Talk about the stone giant one?
Yes.
I believe, I want to say Taston has that right now.
Yeah.
Okay,
I have
good.
the crystal.
Because I was reviewing some stuff in Discord and saw that it has the bonuses for the divination magic, which you are pretty much the primary divinator. So you should hold on to that.
Okay. Which is good that I wrote that down with all the abilities there within.
All right, so the Duragar are packing up and getting ready to leave out literally within the next few minutes. So they will take the remaining gear from their companions that they need, bid you adieu, and start heading off back towards the path to Gracklestug. And they say you can keep the cart. They're just going to try and make full speed. And they head out, leaving you with the 50 other remaining NPCs. Myconids are still just over here dancing around.
We should have the Myconids pull the cart.
We need to figure out what we're doing with them. We're still going to the surface.
They could actually, I guess they could pull the cart.
I mean, let's deal with the interrogation first. Let's do it.
Agreed.
So I'm going to hold him up. And by which I mean, I'm going to get on one of these ruins and hold him up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
So like he's just dangling. And it needs to be high enough that he won't die, but he'll break his legs.
Okay. He is still unconscious. He is unconscious.
Oh, well, I'll beat him
So
until
it'll be a real surprise when you drop his ass.
I want him to wake up.
He doesn't, so.
No, wake up! Ah, damn it. Okay.
He looks pretty much stuff. He actually got beaten unconscious.
Hang on. There's a spell called sleep. Is there a spell called awake?
No.
Why isn't there a spell? If you ever think about that? Actually think about that for a second. It's since 3rd edition, it's always weirded me out. There's no awake. There's no, I want to stay, like, something to force you to stay awake for a longer period of time, right?
I think, yeah.
Caffeine 6.
I think also if a wizard invented that spell, they'd be immediately hunted down and killed.
Wow.
Why? It's fine.
I invented the spell that gives you insomnia.
Ah!
I cast
Actually-
adrenaline.
Yeah.
There you go.
There actually is something very kind of like that, which is dream.
Oh, I'm
Because you can use it in an offensive manner, and it prevents them from actually getting a rest.
Sounds
I'll
horrible.
sneak up, cast on someone, and then leave until they're exhausted, and then
Oh, don't even need to sneak up on them. The range is, I think, on the same plane.
oh wow,
Wow.
that's cute.
Yeah, let's see.
I
Yep,
want
same
that
plane
sniper
of
ability.
existence. So if you have the spell and you know of someone, you can probably eventually kill them with this.
Okay, so
Good news, though. If you're an elf, you're not affected by it.
Guido, you need to never research that spell. It's forbidden.
Fine.
The fifth level spell.
Okay. So I've got him positioned. So I've got a plus to my intimidate, right? Once he's awake.
Wouldn't heal wake him up?
It would, since he was beaten unconscious.
So that's what I'm thinking. So Taston, I've got him in position.
All
You
right.
heal him.
Then so you can beat him up again?
No, the goal is to get information. If I wanted to kill him, I could do it right now. Here, watch. Oh shoot.
Well, I mean,
Could you res him real quick?
Back again.
Yeah. well, I'm just like thinking, like, I'm going to heal him so you can drop him to break his legs.
Well, no, I'm
So
not
you
going to drop him unless he isn't cooperative, right? That's the whole point.
Ashley says, "Are you sure you don't want my help with this interrogation?"
That's actually, you know what? That's
No,
a better
no.
idea. Here, I pull him back from the I've just got this sack of potatoes here. I just lay him down. All right, go for it. You're gonna be more effective with that blade, anyways.
Oh, does anyone have a whip?
I'm fresh out.
I bet one of the bodies has one.
Yeah. Chances might be good.
Maybe.
Inquisitor. Seems like an
Actually, let
Inquisition
me
weapon.
pull up a picture of Inquisitor. This drowned Inquisitor. I want to see exactly what this looks like. So she had the Death Lance.
Just sounds intimidating.
Yeah, I mean, it's like simply named, but
Simply
Inquisitor.
and aptly.
Yeah. Super effective.
It's like naming a gun Death Pipe or something like that.
Guido, do you have some spell that causes confusion?
So technically, yes, I have. So bestow curse, that would work. Also,
Oh, I have that. I have the ring. That's a good idea.
okay. Phantasmal force.
No, that's a great idea. Can I curse him with just so here's what I want. Let me talk to you about the end game. I want to prop up the Inquisitor's corpse and make it look like she's interrogating him. And I want him to be sufficiently cursed so that he buys it.
Okay, I think that would probably be the use of causing a curse on a ability score, because it automatically gives him disadvantage, and that just like if you use it on wisdom or something like that.
I was gonna say that sounds like a whiz check to me.
Yeah. So there's a disadvantage to realize that something is going on.
So I'm gonna curse him with lack of wisdom, with stupidity. I'm trying really hard not to make it a joke here.
It fails. He's already affected by this.
No, that's exactly what I was going for. I was thinking, I curse him to be a drow. Oh, way.
Oh, Ashel will say, do you want the extended or the quick and easy interrogation?
No, hang on. So here's my thought. Hang on.
There's no whip in this Inquisitor, unfortunately.
Asha, I don't want you to interrogate him. Where'd you come from?
Are you sure? I'm so good at it.
Asha.
It was my job back
I
in
believe
Pelican
you.
Delve.
I know. You didn't get anything out of me, remember? Now.
You see that look on her where she knows that if she says what she's thinking, it probably will result in her death. Like,
Well, I don't actually
the
say
insult is transmitted through.
I'm not gonna actually say that, but
It's a trap.
Okay.
here's my thinking. I guess we could use Asha. It's not a okay, Asher. How much can you sound like this idiot Inquisitor is dead?
I'm sorry. Sound like her?
Yeah, to someone who's not very wise at the moment. What's up, Guido?
While he's thinking about that, I also have Phantasmal Force. I can create an illusion of the Inquisitor, basically overlay it over you.
That's true.
If you're doing the bestow curse, then you can basically give him disadvantage on the intelligence save that he needs to overcome the illusion.
Yeah. Do you have the spell slot for that right now? Because we did just go through a big battle. Okay. If you want to do that, I'm down for it. Because my plan was just to use the corpse and kind of wing it, right? That sounds like that's going to be a little more effective. But in that case, we probably need to cast that on Asha so she could sound like it.
Well, I wish this is contrary to my usual method, which involves a lot of whipping.
But our method is going to be very successful. The whole point is you are his Inquisitor demanding,
No, I realize what the plan is. It's just not a fun method.
Tell you what, after we get all the information from him, he's yours. How's that?
Oh, perfect. Agreed.
I probably shouldn't have said that. All right, so do it up.
All right.
You're giving evil to evil, so I mean, is it really wrong?
I don't feel terrible about this, if I'm being completely honest.
I mean, really, how does Kellamdor feel about it is the real question. Because
that's a good point. Taston, do you have any issues with this? And no insult intended. I mean, I want to real response.
I am decisively neutral on this matter.
I was going to say probably not, since you're just taking an evil creature, and ultimately at the end of the day, once this is all done, sending them to Kellamdor, so judgment will be there. So I'd imagine that's probably okay.
Ooh, this draw ain't going to Kellamdor.
Well, okay, yeah, true, but like
I know what you mean. The natural way of things.
Yeah.
Someone's going to poke her in the shoulder when she's in line and say, "Hey, by the way."
Yeah, you
got another place to go.
Q from subsection 13. Yeah, that's the blue form.
So much bureaucracy. Okay, so I do not have the spell slot to do a second bestow curse. So,
no, I've got it. I've got it in the ring.
Well, yes, I realize that. I was thinking we could do a second bestow curse as well.
I have 3 in my ring.
Well, so bestow curse is concentration, and phantasmal force is concentration.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll do the 1 curse then, and you can do that.
Yep, we'll have to. Okay.
I'll make sure I burn the curse. Speaking of which, I'm going to get another curse after this.
I'll do that after I do the identify on the items.
So it looks like you're going to actually be targeting intelligence for the bestow curse.
You mentioned that. So I'm cursing your int. You're a trowel. The joke still applies. That's the best part. I curse you to be a trowel. I don't say that for another Asher.
This can deal damage. Great.
Yeah.
Okay, no, this works out perfectly because you can like make her like a phantasmal whip and stuff, which can technically deal damage, but just psychic.
So am I actually like overlaying an image, or how is this going to work?
So let's see. Let's look at this. So it's actually it rationalizes any outcomes from interacting with phantasm. It is a 10-foot cube that you illusion up and is perceivable only to the target. So basically you can construct whatever scenario you want to for this person to be in. And it could be anything like a torture chamber, or it could be the same place, but there's hazards around it. It looks like, as far as doing an illusion overlay, It looks like it probably would work as long as the creature overlaid is within that area of the 10-foot cube.
Okay. So I'm assuming that's going to be the easiest way of doing it then. Just overlay the illusion of the Inquisitor over Asha.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And as long as they're all within that 10-foot cube, it should continue to work unless it makes its investigation, or I'm sorry, it's an intelligence save or its investigation.
Okay. Just remember, Asha, you cannot leave this 10 feet.
Understood.
So I'll let Mark do the curse first, and then once he does that, I will cast the Phantasmal Force.
And I think, Tassin, you have a role to play in this as well, because you're the one who can wake her up. Well, wake him up, rather.
All right. So I will cast Cure Wounds.
Let's see, where do you want to do this? This is your man right here.
And speaking of which, I should have asked, do we want any additional aspects in this illusion, or is it just you're here and it's happening here?
Asha scratches for her chin for a second. She rolls a dice. Oh, wow. All right. She describes to you a very specific environment, which sounds like a Grau, basically room and instruments of interrogation, quote unquote.
Okay.
And she seems to recall it very well. And she describes to you like what they should be doing so you can craft the illusion around that.
Does it sound at all familiar to the prison or any part of the prison where we started out?
It sounds very much familiar to what you experienced, Liam, except this is much more elaborate.
I'm just thinking because I could use that as a mental reference.
Gotcha. Yeah, the place that you were in, Liam, when you got taken back, it sounds very similar to that.
Okay.
But she's giving very good details as well.
Okay.
So with that, you have a pretty good idea of what this should be. She also does ask you to make the place a little bit obscuring, just so the subject can't see particularly well.
I'm thinking move into one of the ruined buildings.
Mm-hmm.
So we can use like the ruined walls as part of the illusion as well.
Okay.
If it's over here or over here, wherever.
Yeah, like this is almost, well, this one got shattered. So.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that one probably would be, that's about 10 by 10 anyway, in that little ruined area.
Perfect.
All right. Bob was like, I want to watch. Vren will actually be over here talking to Kraylin. You kind of get the feeling that he's trying to keep him occupied. Ron will be like, oh, this is going to be fun.
Stay back and stay quiet.
Oh, okay. He turns to Glavin and says, shh. All right. So,
Evening, Darth.
a couple things are going off at once here. So you cast, first of all, Bestow Curse. So you move up and curse this individual.
Oraktu Nikto.
Right. And he needs to make a wisdom saving throw.
He needs to fail it.
Or he's going to lose his hand and have a chainsaw attached to it.
Fail me a wisdom save. Where are you, warrior? Okay, not his best save. Oh god, he's gonna suck eggs if he has disadvantage in intelligence. That's not right.
Please.
Okay. So what is the save DC? I think I have failed it, but I just want to make
I'm
sure.
pretty sure it's a 16.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so Mark, you feel the energy discharge and just take hold. You are currently concentrating on it. And then Phantasmal Force.
Phantasmal Force next. Yeah.
All right.
Force.
Now make an intelligence save at disadvantage. Ugh. Oh. So I have a 2. Yeah, you see his brow furrow, like he's almost immediately like feeling the effects of something even in his unconscious mind.
The torture has begun.
Yes. And cure wounds then?
Yes.
Okay. So you cure wounds.
Actually, before you do that,
Okay.
since he is under the effect of the Phantasmal Force, which can do psychic damage, I want to try and cause him to wake up from like getting whipped. Because Asha was saying that she wanted the whip. Could that, and wake him up?
You basically have to do both of them at the same time.
Both of what?
So like the cure and the whip crack at the same time, because I mean,
What?
it just,
Why?
I mean, the damage is just going to start killing him if he's still unconscious. If that makes any sense.
It's not going to wake him up?
Now he's at 0 HP right now.
Oh, okay. I thought he was higher than 0, so.
No, he went unconscious due to 0 HP. No, so normally you'd be right if he had HP.
That
But,
was,
yeah.
hence my confusion. I thought he had more, so. Okay.
Yes.
Ignore the whippage and go ahead and do the cure wounds.
Okay.
All right. I will need to know how much you cure him for.
Well, is Circle of Mortality always on?
Yes.
Okay, so I have to do max. Like,
Oh, that's right. Go ahead.
the only reason why I
Yeah.
ask is because, like, I don't really want to heal him as much as possible. I just want to like get him, but like it says max die value when healing from 0, so he's at 0. So that's
Okay.
8. 8 plus my spell casting ability, or doesn't say, right.
It's not so bad giving him max hit points. It gives us more of a margin of error for, torture.
Right.
Okay.
It's okay. You're doing a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm still not feeling that, but all right. So yeah, that's 12.
12. Okay, that's a pretty good chunk. So you do that at the same time. As soon as his eyes just shoot open, like he was trying to force himself awake, Asha begins. She almost immediately just grabs his head and presses her face against his and starts like nastily spitting some drow phrases at him. And you're not particularly sure what she's saying. It sounds like a very weird elvish dialect.
Are they speaking Undercommon?
No, it's not. Actually, who here knows Elven?
I do, but like,
Mark does.
I don't know how much of this I'd pick up if this is what I think it is.
So yeah, I mean, it's definitely a drow dialect, but you can understand what she is saying for the most part. She starts off with "Do as you are ordered and live," and she seems to be working very quickly now. She is making motions like she has a whip in her hand, although obviously she doesn't. And she is going to make a check. Hey, You know what's used for situations like this? Medicine, which she is proficient in. I'll give her advantage since this is a carefully constructed thing. He like the drow like wakes up, and you can tell that after a few seconds, he seems to be very confused about what's going on. He's glancing around wildly, like he's obviously seen stuff that's not there. And he seems very, very concerned. And Mark, you can tell that Asha is breaking into essentially a scenario where she is the Inquisitor and she is pinning all of the failure directly on him.
Wow.
And going back through the history, trying to get him to basically exonerate himself. And in doing so, he's revealing everything that happened because he's trying to desperately search through, everything that had gone on to say, oh, well, it was so-and-so who did this or someone else who did this, et cetera, et cetera. So she's getting him to spill the beans like in a side way. In the meantime, she rolls a 22. In the meantime, oh, perfect. You see her make like motions of like stabbing and whipping stuff during this when he seems to have any slight hesitation at all. And he takes 1 psychic damage the first time. And he starts saying, and of course, Mark, he's saying this stuff in Elven, so you're able to pick up on this before it's revealed to anybody else. But he starts telling about this journey, this undertaking that like certain groups of drow have had going back a month or two. And you pretty quickly start putting together the pieces that he is part of a group with this Inquisitor whose job is to deal with heretics or basically anything that the house they are with deems something that just needs to be either captured or eliminated. So where's their house? Faye, I know I posted it in chat last time. Faye Bronk. Probably not the right pronunciation, but that seems to be close enough. About the Inquisitor from Faye Bronk. They had been going through various tasks several months back, and they were told to be on the lookout for some escaped prisoners who were in the area. You put two and two together and like, oh, that's the Velkenveld incident. All right. Continuing on. Wow. Asha is just milking this, apparently doing like 1 psychic damage each time she hits him. He is yelling like it's obviously something that in his mind is much worse than what is actually happening. And he continues on with the story. You figure out that they didn't have any real involvement in this particular incident until much more recently, when essentially your group started becoming a blip on the radar, so to speak. They learned that there was, number one, a priest of Loth who had disgraced herself with the group. Number two, you were some wanted drow prisoners. And number three, there was an ever-increasing price being put on your head, mainly for the purposes of saving face, because escaped slaves was an absolute embarrassment. The house that had been sponsoring the reward, which probably comes as no great surprise, was the house of the priestess who had ruled over Velkenveld. And that house is House Mizram. Not a particularly unknown house, but that is what it is. And Mizram is most definitely the ruling house of the slave trade of Menzoberranzan. So it makes sense that they would have something like this. All right. Continues on. Oh, 2 psychic damage. Still has some life left in him. Asher seems to be milking this just a little bit. All right. So they eventually got the word, and you find out, you actually find out something interesting. They start talking about various scrying attempts, which were going off and on and off and on. And it was very hard to track down the party because it was just like radar blipping off and on various places. So you figure out who keeps casting these scrying things on various party members. And apparently they were targeting Asha because it was the most consistent one they were able to scry on, and the one that they knew about and had the most things about. And she whips them a little bit just for that. Takes 4 psychic damage. And so they'd been tracking you down, and there's a lot of stuff seemingly mainly irrelevant that they start going back and forth about in Gracklestug. Apparently they had been camped out receiving information in Gracklestug for quite some time, just waiting for you to leave because of political reasons. They couldn't just go in there and start abducting people. Apparently they were being fed information from something you'd correctly surmised last time, the various drow houses that you had interacted with. And it became even more problematic because you started gaining favor with the officials in Gracklestug. So it made it even harder and harder and harder. And eventually they just relegated themselves to trying to ambush once you got outside of the city, to both turn in the prisoners who were causing trouble just in general, and to recapture Asha, because it's very, very advantageous to have a prisoner like that, and just to gain some gold in general. And the Inquisitor apparently was not incredibly happy about being relegated to this task, but nonetheless put up with it. You do have the name of the matron mother dropped several times of Fey Bronk, which is Burton Fey. So it seems pretty evident that wasn't direct orders from the matron mother, but at least at some point in time, it was passing through her court. So something that was not unimportant. Something also came up. They also did want like a bunch of your magic items too. They're like, this is valuable, especially after you got some of those. After they received word about the dragon slaying as well.
They still came after us.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
we killed the dragon.
They well, Ashley needs to continue on when she does this. Okay, he's still conscious with 1 HP.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is kind of catching up more to the present as she's going through this, and they were fairly confident that they could take the party. It seems that the poisons didn't quite work out exactly the way they expected it to. You figure out there's probably several gaps in their information about like specific abilities and stuff. And then regarding the dragon slaying, they don't have perfect information from the way that Ash is interrogating him. They kind of suspected that the military was heavily involved in it, which to the outside observers, it very much seemed like it, apparently.
Yeah.
There's some mentions in the torture about how there is some worries about alliances to Gracklestug. But he doesn't really get into that at all. And now it seems to catch up to the present. So
hold up. So my pride can't take it. So I pull out the dragon's head I still have.
Mhm.
And I just walk up and I slop it down on it. Look at what we did. No,
This guy just walked into the dungeon. What's going on?
Dragon's head.
No, something that comes up several times is the damn sword Dawnbringer, because apparently that's one of the items. When they heard about that, they're like, we need to destroy that now, because that is not something that the Drow particularly like. So as a list, it seems like they were coming after you for the reason of being escaped prisoners, then for money, then for the items you had, then for just being a general pain to the Drow politically. And like, there's just a laundry list of reasons that kind of culminated in this. And here we are. This guy he's at 1 HP. Esha seems to be finishing up with him. And then she turns around and kind of under her breath, as she seems to be mimicking doing something, she asks if there's anything else you want to know from Miss Cretan.
Just mostly as an aside, it would be interesting to note if there's any demonic anything's going on. Like, is he part of any of this abyssal?
Or are there
swamping?
more ambush teams waiting for us down the road?
So I'll answer the second question first, because this kind of came out during the interrogation. The general sense was that this team had this in the bag, so probably not.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, that's really, unless you want her to try and dig in for more details, that seems to be the general sense, is that they had a plan that they were going to execute, and it didn't 100% pan out just because of, well, I mean, to be honest, a lot of the poisonings failed, and they had imperfect information about some of the stuff. So the first question then, demonic stuff. So she starts launching into him about, potential associations with, and she uses like the term unaligned demons, as in demons that they're not really consorting with. Nice. She can't do less than one. So after this answer, he will fall back into unconsciousness. But don't worry, she stabilizes him. After all, you can't let the prisoner die.
Yet.
Yeah, yet. And he essentially starts going through some known demonic associations, but doesn't say that he's been consorting with any of them as far as this particular scenario goes, spilling any information to them, none. And he does make direct reference to the way that he puts it, the groups of demons running around the Underdark, to say that he avoided them at all if possible. So seemingly not, aside from the demons that Drow normally consort with in Mensa Baranzan. And he falls unconscious after that. And Asher says, well, I think this particular session is over, but if you want anything more, we can always do it again.
A little too eager, aren't we?
It's fun, but with imaginary instruments, it's just not the same. If we took it back to Mensa Baranzan,
that's not going to happen.
Well, that's something I need to speak with you about. She says that basically as she's cocking his head back and forth, just making sure he's not like dying. I'd like to offer you a proposal. No.
Except, wait.
Yes.
You gotta listen.
Yes. No. Don't worry. There'll be a confirmation box.
Good.
Yes.
Are you sure you want to take this bad deal?
Situations have changed for me now that I have fulfilled part of my bargain to Loth. And I don't think I'll be returning to the surface. Or not returning to the surface, rather going to the surface. So I have a deal for you. My intent is to return to Menzo Baranzan. But I would not want to do so without some sort of bargaining token for my reestablishment of my position and also potential promotion if I can maneuver some things. And she points at the sheath for the death lance, and she says, it would go quite a ways if I were to return with the Inquisitor's death lance. I can take it off your hands. It is a very, very dangerous item to carry around with you. And it would directly benefit you if you happen to come to Menzo Baranzan. I think I would be willing to, or not willing, I think I would be able to grant you some sort of safe passage if I could reestablish myself in the hierarchy. After all, House Vandry, we're determined to rise to the top, and once we are at the top, no one will question it.
You're terrible. How on the level is she here?
You can make an insight check if you'd like.
So let me get this straight. You want us to give you the launch code so you can take it back to the enemy base that wants us dead and has sent people to hunt us with information of where our general location is.
Drow politics are much more
Where's the upside in this?
Well, the upside in this is that no one will come looking for this party. No one will chase you. As far as I'm concerned, you'll be useful allies of House Vandry. Look, I'm not stupid. I realize that we don't always see eye to eye on everything, but I think we're useful allies.
I take a moment to think back over the months of in-game time. Have we ever seen eye to eye at any point in time?
Very few times.
Okay.
I think one of the only points I can think of is that she is actually anti-demon. Like, I don't know if she's pro-Loth, but I mean, like, she's been pretty anti this whole mess so far. I know that's not saying much. It's like saying, I know that volcano that's erupting in our faces. You know, I'm literally Hitler, but I'm not in favor of that volcano. That's kind of what I'm saying here.
So what did you roll on your insight?
You're anti-volcano.
I got a 17 on my insight.
17. Okay.
I got a 21.
Nice.
Wow. Okay.
All right, let's see what I got. I'm so stunned by what she's proposing. My insight has been like, my insight's at 6.
Okay.
That's a 2 on the dice. So apparently I'm like, whatever. I'm so over all of
you're
this.
Just done with it.
It's like, nope.
So you make the decision.
Well, because I immediately I glance at Cuillin, like, if we let her go, he's gonna kill her. He's gonna straight up end her.
All right. So you're not quite sure, Taston, like whether or not she's on the up and up or not. So that's your own decision to make. Both Liam and Mark. This is the insight you get is that this is essentially you don't essentially like overt deception from her. Like, this is just a ploy or anything like that. This seems to be, for the most part, from what you can read, a genuine proposal. Although, especially you, Mark, you do know how these things work, and so later down the road, who knows? But you're not sensing any backstabbing intention here.
Yeah, this honestly just feels like typical drow politics, to be blunt. Like, this just feels like, and I'm going to say that out loud. Like, I know that sounds like a normal deal in the Underdark. I won't say drow, I'll just say Underdark. And I'm going to turn to look at Liam, our Resident Evil party member, and just kind of raise an eyebrow like,
This alliance of convenience is still an alliance.
I mean, I'm not going to say this out loud, but I want somehow the implication to get across through our psychic connection that we have for the months we've worked together, that it's this or we kill her right now. These are our options.
I'm just wondering why she'd be willing to go out on a limb for us.
That's not really going out on a limb. She notices that we're level 9 and she wants to us not kill her. That's what that is.
Well, no, I realize that.
I mean, I'm sorry, I'm speaking out of character a bit there, but in character, I fully mean that. Like Mark is like, no, she wants powerful adventurers to not want to kill her.
For the short term, I realize that. I was thinking more the long term, her offer, if we ever get to Menzoberranzan, she's willing to go out on a limb to, give us some measure of protection while we're there.
No, that is true. But my answer actually doesn't even change, forgive me. Because at that point, it's, so now I've got level 9 adventurers who owe me something, right? Like, think about it from her perspective. She's there and she's trying to get her power finagled, but there's this one rival, right? And that one rival's really being a thorn in her side. And we show up, right? Like you see that the machine's moving. And it's like, oh, okay. Tell you what, I'll give you safe passage. I'll cut the thing. I'll do all this stuff. Could you deal with that guy for me? And then that'll be the trade-off.
Quite possibly.
You have already literally seen that in action when you went into Gracklestug. It's true.
So,
although they had like no prior connection somewhere.
So NPC party member to quest giver is what we're looking at here.
Yeah. I'm honestly, even in character, I think I'm kind of more in favor of this than not. The thing that worries me is that damn death lance. I'd rather she not have that, to be completely honest. In fact, I'm going to actually turn to and say, I don't suppose the corpse of the Inquisitor would suffice instead of the death lance.
Yeah.
I know
Perhaps.
it's just a worthless Inquisitor from a worthless house.
Well,
but
number one, practically, it's going to be very hard for me to court a corpse all the way back to Menzoberranzan.
I mean, it's only a few months journey. It'll still be visible.
Yeah. Number two, having the actual lance would go a long way to showing that. I mean, forgive me that I was, and I'm not saying this is actually what happened, that I was involved in her downfall. It's more proof and more impressive than just merely throwing a corpse at the feet of someone.
Hang on. I'm going to consult my whale here. Hang on. What do you think?
By the way, thank you, Bregwin, as always. I greatly appreciate those subs.
Okay.
What I'm saying is the more potential you have for me to rise in power, the better it'll benefit you.
What about half the lance?
Slice it in the middle.
She thinks for a second. She says, I don't actually know what would happen if you broke it in half, and I dare not try.
No, that's
Hang on. I hit F5 really quick. And then I'm like, yeah.
Actually can't break it.
But you should not.
Yes, we probably shouldn't.
Let all the death out.
Does it have to be the lance?
Honestly, I don't really want to use it myself.
I mean, no, I don't either. If I'm being completely honest, I'd rather take it to the surface and destroy it. But I mean, that's a drow make, right? Like we take it to the sun, it's gone.
Yes.
That was the original plan. I'm sorry, I don't think I said that out loud. That was my original thought.
Ish.
Meanwhile, Liam is like, oh yeah, I'll take it to the surface, wrap it up very tight.
Yeah, it's all good.
It's gone. Whoa, look at that.
It's weird.
It's amazing.
I'm not sure. Liam, good job. Your wizarding ways have, as usual, saved us.
And for my next trick,
Oh my gosh.
Roll deception.
And I just look at Liam. You roll like a 2, and you're just like, ha-ha! And we're just like,
it's like a massive thing sticking out of the back of your clothes.
yeah. It's just, it's like in your shirt, so you can like see
Yeah, so like
sticking
one
out
arm is
here.
constantly up.
Yeah.
I'm just stretching constantly.
Yeah. Man, just getting that in there.
All right.
Is that a staff in your pants?
She says, I'll tell you what, I'll throw in something else if you're having a hard time deciding. I'll take the mic and it's back. As far as I can take them, I won't take them in the Menzoberranzan. That's not very well suited to them, but I'll take them back to their colony.
Underdark map. Give me a second. Because Benzabranzan is way up there. I know that.
Yeah.
How many days did we travel from Gracklestug?
There we go. So Benzabranzan is way in the northwest. It's up there by basically. It's the under equivalent of We are way south of that. What I don't know is where the Myconids are. Help me out here.
Well, just in general, in the Underdark, they're in various locations, but the one places you've heard about are Neverland Grove.
I felt like I tried to look for this before too.
Which
There's
is
no
where
search
one of
feature.
the demons is.
Because that's one of our. That's like our next step, isn't it? Because we still need to free them from the slime demon, whose name I can't remember. Not that slime demon, the other one.
The fungal demon.
The fungal demon. Excuse me. Yeah, there's actually a distinction there. Oh God! Don't tell me it's not on. No, there it is. There it is, right there. That actually is on the way. In fact, it's directly in between. I think. There's Gauntlegrim. There's Benzabranzan. There's my neighbors. By the way, I apologize, Guido, because I'm sure your OBS is picking up my neighbors' base.
Yes.
Yeah, there's nothing I can do about that.
No worries.
They do that until like midnight. It's ridiculous.
Ba-doom, doom, 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 doom.
And I was wrong. That wasn't Neverlight. That was Nether-Res. The wrong place.
Neverland Grove it's kind of on the way as much. Well, it's more on the way than basically anything else. Maybe a little bit of a trek outside the way, but 2D maps of the Underdark are fairly deceiving.
I cannot find it on this map at all. I believe that it's here. I just don't see it.
Yeah, so it's like Gracklestug is on the Dark Lake, and Benzabranzan is northeast on the other side of the Dark Lake. Neverlight Grove, if you skirt along the outside of the Dark Lake and just go a little bit out of the way, you actually will reach it on the way. Actually, do I still have the map on here? I do. Maybe I can just show you. So, Gracklestuggy area down there, the Neverlight Grove, Benzabranzan. I accidentally drew on the wrong thing.
I'm spending all this time looking up the actual official maps. Like, where the hell is? Oh, here we go. Much more helpful. Okay, so do I have to roll another wisdom save to see if she's being deceptive about taking the fungi?
Oh, you can make another insight check if you would like,
Oh,
yes.
for God's sake, stop lying to me, you troll. Okay, 21 again. They're lying.
Unnatural 20.
Ooh. So there's two things. The first thing is you sense that like she doesn't want to do it, but feels like this is throwing in something extra to like win you over to the idea, like she's gonna keep up the bargain because it's probably a bad idea not to do it. So again, you're not sensing any like upfront deception, just more like a little more desperation to throw something in here to get you to agree to it.
Okay. How do we contact him as a Benzabranzan? Should such a time come?
Well, there's a couple of direct ways. You can use the post, which never reaches anything on time nowadays. I wouldn't advise doing direct sending spells. I'll likely be not well. You could try a direct sending spell if you so desire. No guarantees of whether or not I will be able to respond at that point in time. Standard messenger would work. I'm sure if you had some contacts that you wanted to use in Gracklestug, they could ferry a message there. Although I don't know how relations would be between Benzabranzan and Gracklestug, or rather, that's not the actual real question. The question is relations between certain houses and them. I mean, honestly, I would try to send a missive via a trade route if you really wanted to get there slowly but surely. That or ascending. I mean, you can literally send it to House Vandry to me, and it should reach me eventually.
Eventually.
Yes. I mean, you know how things take. I mean, it's going to depend on where you are too. Obviously, in the above world, I don't know how slow or fast messages are couried around there, but it's quite a trek to get down to the Underdark. It'll have to be passed along trade routes. I don't know how the demon groups will. No, actually, now that you think about it, that may not be a reliable way to get things across nowadays. It's very hard to contact the above world, to be quite honest. Honestly, an in-person message might actually be the best bet if you can hire someone or come yourself.
If we're on the surface, we probably can't hire Droki.
No, I probably wouldn't hire him anyway, even if you could.
Also true.
Do you mind if I have a moment to confer with my fellows about this?
Take all the time you need.
I want this idea. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
I want to trust her. I really do. And having someone who is even nominally an ally in Menzoberranzan is invaluable. Her offer of taking the Myconids back to Neverland Grove, I do worry about what's waiting there for them. And I don't think, A, that they're prepared. And if they get left on their own, who was it that they were dancing for?
Hang on. So I actually just House Mizram are the people who are after us right now, which is not her house.
So Mizram was the owners of Elkendel. So they're the original ones who put up like the capture notice on the group. And the group here was actually part of Faybrock, who were not the original ones who put out all that notices, but kind of became pulled into it for both political and monetary sake.
No, I meant the Myconid wedding.
Oh, her.
Yeah.
Dancing for Zugmoy.
Zugmoy? Yeah. That's it.
So yeah, I'm worried about what's waiting for them in Neverland Grove if they're on their own.
Challenge rating 23, we can take her.
Do we have, I'm more asking this out of character. Do we have a method to keep them safe on the surface?
No.
Make a nature check.
And as I'm sure this has bounced around Mark's head for days now.
I mean, y'all can make a nature check if you would like about these Myconid sprouts.
All right, so that's a +0, so that's going to be a 3.
Right.
15.
15?
I got an 18.
Okay. So yeah, unfortunately, I mean, Myconids it's pretty rare knowledge, so yeah. But both Test and Liam, you suspect that, I mean, you know that they have like just natural sunlight sensitivity to the point where exposure to it for even just a limited amount of time will kill them.
Yeah.
So you know that you like technically you can keep them safe by basically just keeping them in a completely dark area where no sunlight can enter. I mean, what a life. You'd essentially have to treat them as completely, enclosed plants which cannot receive sunlight. So you could, but that's really what you'd have to do.
That's the problem. We had a perfect solution for these guys, and then it ran away. And now we have none. There is no good option for these guys. And I mean, okay, so the option I keep not bringing up is we could split the party. Tasden, you take your brother up, probably with Liam, and I just hang out in hell. I mean, the Underdark with these freaking. I'm not looking forward to such a thing. Let me be very clear about this. It's just, that way they're here, they're safe in the one spot we can make sure they're safe under our watching, and I just stay put so that you come and then we relink and then we as a group go on. And that's the only other option I've ever come up with.
So the other option, which may not be a great option, find a relatively remote, like obviously not in the place that we just had a battle, but like a relatively remote location that's still in the Underdark. Say, okay, guys, you wait here. We'll be back as soon as we finish our trip. We'll come back. Then we'll all go back to Gracklestug. But kind of along the same lines, what I never really took a lot of stock on. What do they eat? Do they eat?
Technically yes, but they get along in the Underdark just fine, just being in it. They absorb nutrients from basically wherever they are.
Okay.
So you guys keep saying, and we'll be back. Was that actually the plan?
Yeah.
I thought
that's what my thought process was to get Cuillin to the temple to recover and then turn around and come back.
Yeah, this is a stop off.
Okay.
We have completed this quest, and then now we have to go deal with hell because there's demons everywhere, right?
Okay.
Like
I wasn't sure if that was actually the plan or we were going topside and staying topside. So
my understanding or my thought process on the plan was to get Cuillin to where he needs to be so he can recover and say, hey, we gave our word that we're coming back to the city to help fight the demons. So we're going back to the Underdark.
okay.
You're more than welcome to join us when you're better, but you ain't better. So you need to get better first, and then we'll look into that.
now, Liam, if you want to stay on the top side, like we can't force you to come down or anything. If that's your goal. If you're trying, hang on.
The player was unaware of what the actual plan was.
Oh, okay. I thought you. So what I actually thought was you were trying to get rid of Liam because you wanted to play your ranger or rogue, whatever it was. So this was going to be, we'll go to the surface, and then Liam just pieces out, right? No. It's like, all right, I'm done.
Later.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm loving playing Liam. So I mean, if something happens, then I have a backup. But no,
right?
The player is. If we had discussed it, I don't remember. And that could be due to several factors. So
sure. Yeah, no worries.
Okay, so okay.
Yeah, I was treating this as like a very long version of go back to town to resupply to then come back. To the
I mean, we're probably gonna it'll be nice to get some surface food for a bit, get some sun, but I mean, this is a break.
The sun?
I haven't seen the sun in months. I have no idea what the sun is. Hey, Dawnbreaker, can you remind me what the sun is real quick, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
Like this, but 1,000 times at least.
Oh God, it's too much. It burns. Real quick, in Surviving Mars, the game I was just playing, one of the wonders is called Artificial Sun. It is exactly what it sounds like. It generates a stupid amount of power.
That sounds safe.
Yeah, no, it's incredibly unsafe, and I kept waiting for it to explode. Never did. Anyways, okay, so
kind of like a black hole trash compactor.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, and it's just the perfect trash compactor. It's great. So I don't know what to do with these. I don't want to leave them with her. I appreciate her offer. I think having an ally. So I agree with Liam. I as much as I hate to. This is just politics, right? Like this is just they just want to go. She wants us on her side. We want a foot in the door. That's politics, right? We don't like each other. We don't agree with each other. We both happen to vote green, So.
Okay. I have an idea.
Okay.
Oh God. So no fireballs. No fireballs.
Not yet. No. I'm sure that's later. That's part of the end game. But the initial plan.
We agree to the death lance on the condition that she takes the Myconids to Neverland Grove, and before leaving them, determines if there is a danger to them. If there's a danger, she does not leave them. Whether that's finding somewhere else that they can be safe or taking them to Menzoberranzan and protecting them there.
I'm going to be honest. I hate that plan because what that means is there's a really good chance that we're never going to see them again. Right?
Yeah.
Like either she doesn't do her due diligence because screw it, and nobody's keeping her to it, and so she just lets them go there and they're gone. That's the end of that. Or the place, she does do her due diligence and the place is unsafe and she takes them with them, and then we never see them again because she takes them into Menzoberranzan. Or
well,
like,
what about maybe having her take them back to Gracklestug and just have them be there? And then
I mean, honestly, if we're going
like
that
neutral
far,
ground,
we should probably, honestly, if we're going that far, having them just stay in one spot is probably the better option. One codified, we know where this is. Spot. Third, how much are you amused by how much effort we're putting into keeping these NPCs alive and in the party? I'm just wondering.
I don't know. I mean, it's interesting because basically, depending on what you do, it could change quite a few things coming up. So I'm just curious to see what the path you take is.
Oh my God. Okay.
Then, if that's the case, then I think delivering them to Gracklestug, where we have a house, they'll be safe.
Yep.
There's other allies there that can watch over them.
I'd feel better about that. Yeah.
Then I would say have Asha take the Myconids and Glabagul back to Gracklestug.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think that's a much better option.
Man, that's a weird party, though. Sorry.
Yeah, it's gonna be
a weird party of
whatever.
4.
You chose those party members? Okay, you took the ones you got later in the game.
Oh shoot. I'm gonna ask a dumb question because me, the player, has forgotten. Do they need something to get into Gracklestug to our home?
More than likely, they would need your papers to actually get in there. Unless there's some, well, could enter as a trader. I think just from what Mark and the group can determine.
Not trait.
Right, trader.
Yeah.
Like, trader of goods.
Okay.
The hardest thing will be that it is a drow leading them. So that would likely mean a proxy or something like that. Now, this would probably occur to Liam that that he could write up something that's like an official letter of, hey, let them in my house, things like that. Here's my citizenship. You actually even have a signet ring, I believe, of your family, right, as proof of to stamp things like that. That is something you could do and hope that is enough for it to work. But just showing up at the gates and being like, hey, I'm a drow, here's my gelatinous cube, I want to go in that guy's house, probably won't fly. So possible, just not a shoo-in.
If the paperwork option will work, that's something. Otherwise, I hate to say this, but I really feel like we need to split the party, and I'll just go with them back to Gracklestug and just say screw it, and I'll just be bored while I wait for you guys to get back. And who needs the sun anyways? Am I right? It's cool. It's only been a few months. It's fine.
Well, you could probably catch up to us.
It's true.
Or we can send Ront back, since he was instrumental in killing the dragon. He too would have gotten citizenship in Gracklestug.
Ron does have papers.
Yeah.
And he is very smart, especially on his own.
Look, there is no perfect plan.
No, there isn't. That's exactly my point.
There's a bad angle. Yeah,
there is no good option here.
Now,
that's exactly the problem.
Not to throw another wrench in the oven here, but doesn't Ront want to leave the Underdark and go home?
Oh, yeah, he does. You're right.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Any
so
way you
how
slice
about-
it, there's no way you can't not involve dice rolls.
Yeah. How about Bryn? Can Bryn take them back?
Okay, hang on. There's a part of this question I should have asked earlier. How far is the surface from where we are right now?
Good question.
Christ's sakes.
Let me check Google Maps.
From what? No, you don't have like
guides because they left.
No, you don't have like a map, but from what you understood from them, it is not that far. Probably some days travel to get there, but in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty close as long as you follow the route that they pointed out.
All right, you know what? I'm just going to commit to it. The more I think about it, the more I think us splitting the party is the best option. I'm going to go back with them. I'm going to carry them back to Gracklestug. I've got papers. I actually literally know the captain of the guard, right? So, okay, I'll take him back. I will just wait there.
How long is it back to Gracklestug?
That's actually a good question. I'll be going full tilt, and I'll be carrying him. But I can.
So it depends on if you want to like forced march or what.
Let's assume I do.
If you let me start with
monk march,
because I'm a monk, for God's sake.
Right.
And I got key for days.
Let me look it up real quick because I need to make some calculations because the base movement speed is no longer like the slowest one.
So you get my thinking, right? Like if nothing else,
Right.
What could happen is I could get there full tilt, take like a nap now that we're there in our home that we have, drop them off, make sure they have food and supplies, and then book it right back out, and maybe even link up with you before you hit whatever town you're going to hit topside.
Thought.
okay,
Take Ront with you.
as backup.
The two of you can pull the cart,
Yeah.
and that way you can put the two Myconids and Blabagul in the cart. And with the two of you pulling it, you will make much better time.
Okay, so here, what's your movement speed, Mark?
45 at the moment, I think. Let me double check.
45. Okay.
Yep.
So if you're able to travel at that speed, which basically means you either have to carry that, whatever you're taking with you, or everybody else is able to keep up with you, which I think it's only going to be you and the Myconids if that's what happens. You can get back about twice as fast, which is going to be roughly 3 to 4 days of travel, which is about twice the amount of time you got there. Now, that's if you take a rest. If you decide to force march, you can go beyond the normal like 8 hours of traveling, but you're going to make constitution saving throws or start suffering exhaustion for each hour you go past that. So it starts to mount up pretty quickly, but you can potentially make pretty good time if you're able to do that. Actually, what is your con save bonus? Just
3.
3. Okay.
Yeah, 3.
So this is just natural knowing yourself. You suspect it would start to get rough pretty quickly. You're not extremely confident in your chances past 2 or 3 hours of that. At that point, it's probably going to start to become very hard to keep up a forced march, or you're just going to get exhausted.
And Ron can't keep up with me, can he?
No.
His movement speed is 30.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And just for reference, the first exhaustion is disadvantage on ability checks. So you're still technically okay. The second time you get it, your movement speed is halved. So you will if you hit that second level of exhaustion, you basically will have to you'll tire yourself out so much, you will have to take a long rest to recover. And then I'll put you back down to 1. So you can keep force marching until you hit that and then take your rest. You'll just basically be permanently at that 1 exhaustion if you do that. So the chances of plus if you're doing a fast travel pace. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. If you're doing a fast travel pace. So you can also, in addition to that, go at a fast pace, which will, let's see, what does this do? It's not quite double, but it may shave off a day or 2. The disadvantage of that is you basically can't stop the forge and you take a -5 to your passive perception. So it's very easy to get ambushed.
All right, so we're further along than I thought we were.
Mhm.
I thought we were closer to like halfway. So here's my thinking. Go ahead and take Ront. He needs to go to the surface anyways. That's like his end goal. I'll go back with the Myconids, and I will just park. You deal with whatever. I could try to link back up with you, but I'd be leaving the Myconids behind, which I was already hesitant to do anyways. And B, I'll be there with Glavagul, and right. I want to make sure he's taken care of. And C, we'd be alone in the Underdark where we know people are currently gunning for us. Like that ambush, I look down at myself. I'm still at like less than half health, by the way. So I'll have a little bit of vulnerability time as I'm going back to Gracklestug, but then I'm just going to hole up, right? And hope for the best. And you guys, get Ront out of here, get your brother taken care of, and then head back at, once you've had a nice meal. Laid out. Just do me a favor. This is all I ask. Just find a patch of grass and just lay in it for a while in the sun. That's all I ask.
Okay.
For me.
It's a tall order, but I think we could do that.
So I did the calculation for fast movement at your speed. Time to travel back is 2.9 days before you force march.
I'm not going to force march. If there is any combat, I need to be at full tilt. Speaking of which, could you heal me before I leave? That's a small request. So I can, just in case.
Well, why don't we do a long rest and then go?
Oh, that's a good idea.
No, because then I get all my stuff back, and then I have more.
Yeah, I don't want to have my health back.
No, that's
probably
back,
and my demon points back. I don't want any of that.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea.
Okay, so you want to set up camp and take a long rest?
Okay, so we're gonna set up. So let's run down the list. We're setting up camp. I'm heading back with the NPCs minus Ront. You're taking Ront plus brother to the surface to recoup and recover, and Ront's leaving the party, and he's gonna make war on the dwarves. It's gonna be great.
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Okay, that's gonna be wonderful. We're just gonna piece it out. It's not a problem anymore. We got demons. Your brother's gonna get some help. I don't know what you guys are doing on the surface. You do something. I'm going back to Gracklestug. I'm gonna, hole up there. I'm gonna kind of be fortifying there too, because obviously there's still drow there and there's still problems there.
Yeah.
And taking care of Glavagul and the Myconids. I think that's it at this point. And she can go to Menza Branson with her freaking staff of death. Is that everything?
Well, I mean, if she's not taking the Myconids, then are we giving her the staff?
That's a good point.
To the compromise, she can go along her merry way. We keep the staff.
Is there a Underdark equivalent of a mark? In 5th edition. Okay, let me walk this back. There is absolutely an equivalent of this. Would she be the kind of person to honor a mark like that?
What do you mean a mark?
I owe you one. And it's like an actual, it's not just a generic, hey, I owe you one. It's more of a more official thing. Some drow follow it, some don't. I don't know anything about specific houses that do. Answer my question. I guess I'm more asking if she would do this. I might even ask her in character, hey, if we ask for a straight up mark from you for when we inevitably go to Mensa Baranson, would you be willing to trade that in exchange for the spear?
Says yes.
All right, let's do the usual roll because I'm dealing with a drow. Thankfully, my wisdom score is worth a damn, so that's an 18.
An 18. Okay.
She's the most honest person I've ever seen.
She's the most honest person you've ever seen in your entire life. You're like, oh, wait a minute. I didn't realize it until now.
Here, have this spear. No.
I mean, you can tell she obviously thought about it for a second, but it's like, okay, I think that's probably the best that I'm getting and agree to it. So no real deception. You're just like, she obviously she wanted a better deal, but she'll take what she can get.
So what is her holy symbol right now?
Loth.
No, what's the symbol? Because she took it from the Inquisitor, remember?
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
Oh, it's an actual amulet. Like an amulet of Loth.
Damn, I don't think we could do that. If I could just take the whole amulet, that would be a perfect trade, but then she loses her casting.
Oh yeah, she doesn't want that to happen.
Right, we're right back where we started.
I wonder if I could just get like one link from the amulet,
Let me see something real quick.
I don't know if we can even do that. What were you going to say, Guido? Sorry.
I was wondering what your goal for taking the amulet would have been.
That's the mark.
Okay.
That's the currency, the trade.
Yeah.
This we have this. Here you go. You owe us. Pay up. Because it's not uncommon for that kind of a thing to be something they value, right? So I was thinking, that's obviously a great value, but wait, that's a little bit too. It's like taking your spell book. I mean, it would work, but at the same time,
yeah, debilitating.
Yeah. And I don't actually want to debilitate her because if we do, that's not useful.
So I'm just looking at some equipment list right here. I promise you basically had nothing already.
Yeah. I've got thieves' tools. Does that count? I lockpick the thing off of her. Actually, I do have some really good sleight of hand skill. All right, so I'm going to keep this. No. Is there a piece of the spear we can break off without breaking it, without destroying it?
Boy,
you know what she just says? You know what? I'll just take your word. How about that?
do I need to roll for that?
Yeah, hang on. Let me roll deception.
Sure.
That's my dice have been getting worse. Every single one of these. It's terrifying. Someone roll with me, please.
You're rolling deception? Are you deceiving her?
No, she's deceiving me.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say insight or perception. It's insight, right?
Yeah, to see if she's lying.
What'd you roll, Laura?
I got a 13.
Oh,
It's just been going down.
I got a 7.
I got 23.
Oh, there we go. Taston, is she on the level?
Taston, something like
No, and we're both. Yeah, Liam and I are just like, oh yeah, that works. And Taston's like,
I mean, seems to be.
God dang it! This is not helping. All right. I've got it. Something even practical. I want a lock of her hair. And you're probably thinking, how's that practical? This is something of hers we could use to scry on her later.
I realize.
Yeah. Lock your hair. This will be a mark. It'll also help us to find you.
Oh, she says, yes, but I want to cut it.
Why? You don't want Ront to cut it with his great axe? Why not? I don't even have a dagger. I was going to
right tool for the right job. Come
honestly.
on,
no, it's okay. The drow have daggers aplenty.
I was gonna say I could use Dawnbringer, but that'll probably.
All right, close your eyes a lot.
Yeah.
Just smells like burnt hair. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, maybe not.
Okay. I'm going to add that to inventory too. Hair from Asha. There. Okay.
Yep. Okay. I'm just looking at her image. She definitely has a segment that she can do. Okay.
Wait, drow have white hair? What?
Yeah.
Okay, so That's the trade-off. You give us a bit of your hair. Obviously, there's a bit of a trust thing there because we now have a piece of you. But the whole point is not only we could find you, but we can use this as a marker. You owe us. You take the spear. You go become big. Get some ambition on. And we might never see each other again. But if we do,
oh, it'll be wonderful. Well, I know you want to rest and all, but I'd rather get going myself.
well, hair.
No, she does it.
Oh, okay. All right.
We had a deal.
Oh yeah, that's the stuff.
Yeah,
No, that's gross. That's gross. No.
Actually, she might respect you if you try to gross her out.
Okay. I'm a dwarf. I can't gross. No. All right. Yeah. Go. Be on your way, and hopefully we will never see each other again.
And 15 perception, just to make sure that she's not sleight of handing something that's not her own hair.
She's doing the stretching thing too.
Wait a minute.
Where did that come from?
Yeah, you do a quick check over as she's passing by and going around just to make sure she's not grabbing stuff. I mean, aside from the stuff she's taken from the fallen drow, which doesn't seem to be anything weird. It's like the dagger and she used for hair, the hand crossbow, the holy symbol. She's not hiding it, but she takes some rations as well from them.
Dude, that's the line. We kill her. That's it.
Wow. You can't have food.
You can't have food. We'll give you the death artifact, but not food.
I mean, do you really want your own drow rations? I mean, really?
That's actually a good point. Go ahead and have them. Go ahead and take them.
They're all yours.
No, she doesn't seem to be trying to sleight of hand anything as far as you could tell. Like, you don't see any suspicious bulges that weren't there before. You don't see anything missing. You don't see her grab anything. Nothing.
I'm tired. Clunk.
I don't really think she's particularly good at sleight of hand. No, she's not really.
She probably has a dex of nothing.
Yes, yeah. Unfortunately, her dex is about nothing. Most of her stuff is in spell casting. I'm good at medicine, religion, and actually persuasion. All right. So she bids you adieu and says, perhaps we'll see each other again, perhaps not. I understand if you don't.
You're taking the dude, right?
What do you mean taking the dude?
The living drow who you just interrogated. We offered him to you after we were done.
Oh. I don't have much use for him. Do you want him?
No.
Lovely parting gift you can take with you.
I mean, have you ever tasted drow?
He's not very valuable, to be honest, aside from information. He's going to slow me down. So if you don't want him, we can just kill him.
That's on you. That was the deal. So he's yours.
Okay. Well, she'll go over, flip the dagger up, and just go and leave him bleeding out.
And see, our good alignment is maintained. We didn't kill him.
Right. Because now, again, unless there's anyone else you want me to coup de grace.
What about that other drow and that one? No, we're good.
All right. Let's adieu again. And not being the very stealthy type. Well, she's going to try.
Oh, I'm going to laugh at this.
Oh, okay. She
vanishes. Wait, can I see her? I don't think I can. Nope. I didn't roll one off.
She heads off into the mushrooms back in the general direction, you suppose, of Menzo Branson.
All right.
And it's gone.
I turn to Liam and I'm like, all right, I owe you 5 gold when she betrays us.
Not if, but when.
Not if.
Wait a minute.
And then I collapse like, oh.
She pops up beside Mark and makes an attack. Well,
I know. Here, take the gold. Take the gold.
No.
Shouldn't it be the other way around? So I'm hoping that she doesn't betray us. So I owe you 5 when she does. You owe me 5 if she doesn't.
That's true. That makes more sense. Okay.
Okay.
I owe you 5 if she doesn't. Sorry. Yeah, rest. We rest.
Here's
All
5 gold.
I'm resting.
No,
It was that fast.
I knew it. Yeah, that's when the stab comes. Liam actually hired her to kill me.
Yeah, that high five afterwards, fist
It's a
bump.
long con.
Finally, I've waited all these levels to assassinate you.
Yep, the whole time
Wow.
Liam just wanted to kill me because it's something I did back in prison. I don't remember what it was now.
Wow.
No, that's how it works. Right? Liam's like, "Oh, I never forgot that slight." And I'm like, "What I do? What do you?
You had more rations than me that one time.
You had more rations than me that one night." I did. Which night was that? There were many horrible nights.
Well, I
You had
forget,
one piece of
but
focus I didn't have. No.
It was the intent that was important.
all right.
But yeah, let's recoup.
I'm just
Let's-
gathering the party. Oh, here's fake Dawnbringer right there. Doppelganger Dawnbringer.
Can I get some healing by any chance?
Well, you're doing a long rest. So.
Well, we're doing the long rest.
Is that just a full? I actually don't remember how that works.
A long rest is a full heal if it is
Oh,
completed.
thank God.
So
I
in a
love that
roundabout
if
way,
it's completed
yes.
there. I like
Question
how
I have.
you slid that in there.
Yes. No, I did that on purpose. So this is the first time in a while you've been camping in the Underdark proper, like not inside a city.
Yeah.
So I do need to know who's doing watches and where you're setting up camp.
God. Okay. I can take as many watches as I need to, but I'm also at half health. So either I need healing plus watches, or I need like a minor watch and then a rest. One of the two.
Brent says he can just watch full time if you need to.
Labagul, do you need a rest? You tired?
I'm never tired. Sometimes I hurt, but I'm never tired.
I'm so sorry. What is your health at, Labagul?
We've been kind of like just feeding him like
Oh yeah,
Body
speaking of which,
parts,
let me
spider
grab the
parts.
Inquisitor,
Yeah,
throw her in.
it's very low.
You know what? He takes more priority than me. Heal him before me.
so. How do and this is going to be where we're going to keep going to? How do gelatinous cubes heal themselves in general over time? Like
I mean, just like any other creature.
If we stuff a bunch of biomass into Gabagool, does he eventually just like consume it all and then regenerate?
You
gelatin,
can
if you
make
will?
a nature check if you'd like to see if you know anything about this,
Yeah, this will be good.
about how this works.
I could have swore we
Fine
did that
nature check.
before and it didn't work, but
12.
12.
ooh. Nature. So that's a 23.
Oh, okay.
Show
And Mr.
off.
23, you know a little bit about how gelatinous cubes and just oozes in general work, but specifically gelatinous cubes. It is essentially throw things in that is digestible, and that can feed it. They can't go for quite a while, if maybe practically almost forever, without actually feeding on stuff. So it's not like a requirement to get it fed. It also doesn't sleep. That's just not a thing that it does. So you can throw bodies in there. You think it'll probably still regenerate naturally, just being in ooze in its nature. The feeding is normally done not to keep it alive, but to keep it friendly for normal gelatinous cubes. So kind of like an animal, you feed it to keep it in a specific place and from coming after you.
Can it eat the spiders?
Yeah. It can eat just about anything that's not like metal and bones and rock and stuff.
I just wasn't sure if the chitinous like legs and stuff would be treated as armor or whatever. So
good question.
well, regardless, I think we should strip the drow and probably the Durgar and just start feeding it to
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, there you go. He'll be pretty easy to spot because he'll have all sorts of bones in him, but I mean, it's feeding him.
Spit out the bones when you're done.
Oh, okay, I guess. It just seems like nice decoration.
Just keep the skulls.
I was going to say, once you're more reconstituted, then we can worry about decorating.
Okay, so he'll keep the skulls. You notice that it's dissolving, like the skulls are being like rearranged. It actually looks maybe a little bit creepy because just the skulls are remaining suspended inside this of various creatures of Durgar and Drow. Okay, so that's Glavigal. Glavigal can actually technically keep watch since he doesn't have to sleep. So here you go. You got Bren. Marilyn will need to rest to regain stuff. Runt will need to as well. The Myconids technically don't need anything, but you know that they're not dependable to stay on watch. So what about the rest of you? You can just depend solely on the ones who don't need to actually sleep.
So I'll take at least one watch as well.
Okay.
Do you have any heals in the tank right now?
I mean, I do.
Like I was thinking, like you go ahead and unload those on Glavigal because he needs a morphine, and then rest, right, and get your night's sleep in, and then I'll take the first 2 watches, right, and then I'll get a short rest, and then you cover the last watch.
Okay. Is Glavigal a creature or a construct?
It's a creature.
Okay, good. Then it'll still work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'll use Healing Word.
Okay.
All right, so D4 is 4. All right, that's 7.
Okay.
And then the one that takes forever to cast, but it actually will.
Oh, the 10-minute caster.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll heal everybody, I think.
While you're doing that, I'm going to start the ritual, the Identify ritual.
Oh, okay. On the hat.
On the hats, and there was something else as well, but I don't remember what it was.
It may have been the spear.
No, I thought there was something else.
Was there?
Could have swore there was. I could be wrong.
No, that's the scepter from earlier. That's that.
And the 2 items that I mentioned last time that I was remembering were the lance and the hat, and the lance took off.
I think that's it.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
So while you're healing and while you're meditating, while you're
ritual
identifying, can I like do a meditative prayer to Bahamut because we're about to all die?
Oh, of course,
dude.
I'm just saying we're splitting the party in the Underdark. This is the best idea we've ever had.
So let me address the Identify first because that will complete first.
Okay. Yep,
so
that makes sense.
The Identify reveals that this is a hat. Ta-da! No,
yeah.
This is a hat of disguise. It is used to cast a disguise self spell from it at will. And you have to have the hat on and attuned in order for that to work. As soon as the attunement is broken or the hat is removed, the spell ends. But it's essentially, as long as you're wearing the hat in some form, it is and attuned to it, it's practically a permanent disguise self spell as long as you can keep recasting it. Now, this hat in its natural state looks like a tricorn. Looks human make as far as you can tell. It seems to have been made for some sort of purpose, maybe in war or such. Like, it doesn't look like something that, it looks like well built, something that you wouldn't just wear around town. Like, you could easily see this being perched on top of the head of someone like on a warship or something like that. It just gives that innate feeling from it. And it has this unique thing about it. Normally when you see magic items, they look like pristine, like they've never been blemished. They have just this innate ability to keep themselves well tended, clean. This actually looks aged, as in like you wouldn't even suspect that it has some sort of magical property keeping it structurally sound. But I mean, it, for all intents and purposes, still has the resilience of a magic item to it. So, yeah, it actually blends in even better, just even in its natural state, than most magic items. That is what that is, and if it's a brownish tricorn in a way, and it's got a couple of nice, well, they used to be nice. They look a little weathered buttons, just keeping it pinned up as well. No real identifying marks on it, though, like no owner's mark in there, no symbol, nothing. But that's what that is.
Okay. And then Tassin's heal spell, I think, goes off next.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Prayer of healing.
Prayer of healing. I'm going to upcast that. 4th level. Eight, 2, which 10, 13, and 3, 16. So it's 20.
That's group heal, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
For up to 6 people.
Much better position then.
Yeah, so I'll apply that to Gabagool and also the Bront and their HP. That one's fine. So yeah, I think that hits basically everybody who's hurt.
Okay, great.
Looks good. It's a good spell. You've got time to cast it for sure.
Yeah, that's the first time I've had, like, it's not in the middle of battle, like, well, can you hold them off for 10 minutes while I think about this ritual
Sure
stuff?
thing.
Yeah, situational, but when it's useful, it's useful. Okay. So now to Mark. So you're doing some meditation while these rests are occurring. So what is Mark concentrating on? Like, is he asking a question or just trying to divine something? What's going on?
I kind of want my mind to be focused almost entirely on the place I've already forgotten the name of because I'm an idiot. And
The Light Grove?
yeah, the Light Grove. And specifically Twitface. Like, I want, if there's any even remote guidance in that front, because that, in my mind, that's step 2, right? Like, that's our next overall goal, is to go deal with that nonsense.
Okay. So go ahead and make just a straight up religion check. Intelligence religion.
Well, religion is int.
That's correct.
That's a +0. The good news is that's a 17. So that's something.
Oh, okay. That's pretty good. And this is just kind of like recognizing religious signs, things like that. Okay, so your mind is going out, focusing on Neverland Grove and Twitface. He knows what you mean. And you feel like there's not a whole lot, like there's no direct contact. Right? And for most people, for most of their life, or all of their life, there never really is, right? Just kind of the way that it works. But you get a very, very strong inclination, like you're meditating and it just suddenly like strikes you like that. And it's more than the feeling than anything else. That you are headed toward like extreme danger. Extreme danger. But you are on a path that Bahamut would be proud of. That if you feel like undertaking it, it is with his blessing. So you just general good feelings about, but danger about the way that you're going. Nothing specific about Twitface or Nova Light Grove.
I can't remember her name legitimately.
Zugmoy.
Zugmoy, thank you. She's a fun one. I remember. I can tell you a lot about her, but I couldn't remember her damn name.
And then there's just and then you break out of the meditation because you know when you've when you've hit the peak, when you've reached the answer that you can get for now, right? You know not to just scramble around grasping for straws all the time. And people are taking the rest. The prayer of healing is concluding. Things like that, and you do realize that you have been seen, or supposedly you have been on the right path as far as you know, because you think back just as you're doing your meditating, you realized it. There have been several instances of the sign of 7 along the way. You traveled here 7 days. You traveled with 7 Duragar. And to you, that means that you are traveling along the path that Bahamut is pleased about, since you are seeing the sign of 7.
That is good to know, since I, decided to keep being a demon hunter. But that is good to know. Okay. Speaking of which, I assume Bren will have a choice if he wants to go to the surface or come back with me. So
Bren, so Bren's told you that I have to be honest, I would really like to stay by your side, but I realized I would slow you down. As fast as I am, I can't keep up with you. You
can just tell me you want sunlight. It is okay. I do understand.
I do really want sunlight. Unless, I'll put it this way. If you could carry me, or if you want to carry me and you think you can't, I will go with you.
No. Enjoy the sunlight. Take care of them. Make sure they're safe. I'd say send for me, but you can't because I'm not it doesn't work that way.
Unfortunately not.
You level up to gain that ability.
Well,
that'd be really helpful.
So here's the thing. I can, but if I do that, I would have to be in proximity to my other master in order to begin to try and contact him again. However, in this circumstance, that may be what we need, since I'm unable to contact him anyway.
Oh, speaking of which, could you try to contact him right now? Because it's a daily thing, right?
Yes.
This is really just a checkup and making sure he's aware of what we're doing, kind of a thing.
Right. He'll stare off into the distance for a second. It says no dice.
Well, Bren, I'm not going to make that decision for you, but I agree that might be helpful because,
Okay, so he will go around to the front of you and sit down in front of you, and he doesn't do much more than just stare at you for a few seconds, and then he says, "It's done. Tomorrow I'll be able to begin contacting you, and you'll know it is me."
Awesome. And now, actually, that actually makes me feel a lot better about splitting the party too, because now you guys will have a literal way to call me.
So he'll address the rest of the party. Says, just if you need to perform ascending, just let me know, and I can attempt to cast it once every day. I can do that, and the message must be 25 words or less. And you are able to answer in a like manner. 25 words or less. Now, if for some reason you travel to a different plane, then there is a chance that the message will not arrive, although we will not know it.
I mean, that is always a threat with what's been going on lately, but I will do my best to not.
Right. That's like, I normally don't bring it up, but that's why I'm bringing it up.
Okay.
So if you happen to do that, know that there is a chance that even though you send it out, it may not reach.
Awesome. Now, I happen to have kept a small thing of bacon just for this, and I go to reach for it, and I realized that he took it like 2 days ago, and I slowly withdraw my
your
hand.
armpit bacon, yeah, that's gone.
And I just look at him for a minute, like, good boy.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, let's do our watches.
All right. So Bren's on permawatch, Labgul's on permawatch. Mark, you're doing the first two, right? So you can make a perception check.
So is it one perception check or two? Just no reason.
Well, we'll take it. We'll take it one at a time.
Cool. I rolled a 2.
Perfect.
So that's a 5.
So what's your passive?
A lot higher than that. My passive would be 13.
13. Okay. And Bren's passive.
I fall asleep watching.
Okay. Bren's passive, actually, if it relies on hearing or spell, it's 18.
Oh, thank God.
So he's surprise, surprise, the dog's a good watch.
I mean,
All right.
13 illithids.
Oh, that's not good. No.
13, 12 Lords of the...
Yeah.
Oh God, there probably is an Underdark version of that song somewhere. What do you want to bet?
Oh, probably.
Cool in a pear tree.
Yeah.
It wasn't. There's now. Too bad you don't have a bard.
It's true.
You would play the instruments.
That's gonna be my next one after my warlock. It's gonna be a bard.
Okay.
And I'm gonna my instrument is actually gonna be a cowbell. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, for the memes, right? No, I've looked it up. It's actually one of the valid instruments for a bard is a cowbell. For some reason, they decided to include that.
Okay.
Well, you know what they say. You got to have more cowbell.
Apparently, that's a real thing. So just imagine.
I'm going to inspire you with dink, 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 dink. Look, it's better than dragging a piano around. Hold on.
I mean, it's much more portable.
Yeah, no, that's valid. That's valid.
Okay.
So how many horrible things
on the first watch? 10 horrible things.
Damn it!
No, there's no boogeyman which jumps out. You don't see something skulking along the ceiling with like glowing red eyes or anything like that. You do, and you can tell that Bren echoes this because like you can see like several times like his head just shoots up and he does the ear thing where there's perched up where he's listening, sniffing. There's weird sounds that just are in the distance echoing down the caverns, and there's just a general sense of real uneasiness which permeates the caverns once they come. It sounds, for lack of a better term, unnatural, not something you've generally heard in the Underdark, like someone like yelling or screaming, but it's not quite right and it's way off in the distance, not close enough to be something that you're like, oh, well, that's down the tunnel, or that's even remotely close to us, but real weird sounds.
All right, I've decided to go with the surface and retire. I'm done. I'm leaving right now, actually. You guys have a good night's rest.
But I mean, nothing happens during the first watch. Second watch.
Let's hope I roll more than a 2. Okay, that is a 19 on the die, so it's gonna be a 21. Or 22.
That's pretty good. All right. A
illithid.
Yeah, an illithid. Actually, illithid might not be too bad. And
my int is 10.
Okay, it might be kind of bad. It's one of those things where if everybody gets mind blasted, everybody fails.
Yeah. Liam would be like, oh, I'm fine, but then he'd be dinner.
Liam would probably be fine because I think it's an intelligence save.
Anyways, what happens? Second check.
Anyways, so again, there's that really uneasy feeling, and there's just nastiness off in distance. This time, Mark, you're able to make it out a bit more distinctly. And I would like you to please make either a religion or intelligence, or not a religion or arcana check, sorry. And this is at advantage, which you probably know what that means.
Now, I'm glad for that advantage because my first roll was a 2.
Mhm.
So it's +0. My second roll is an 18.
Okay. You are pretty sure that you recognize what these sounds are. You know that certain demons make absolutely horrible noise, especially when grouped up. Generally, the lesser demons like mains and wretches, which are really nothing more than just small little nasty demons that are just pure balls of chaos, just almost bestial in their mannerisms. And especially in groups, they are known to make absolutely terrible noises that are just almost a combination of screaming, demonic arguing. It's been said that just like the sound of it sometimes will just drive people to madness if they hear it for too long. You are fairly certain that is what you're hearing in the distance. You don't think it's incredibly close, but it's close enough to be heard.
The relevant question, and you could just not give this to me because my rolls weren't great, is it in any way moving closer or further away?
So, I mean, your second perception was in the 20s, correct?
Yeah, 22.
Yeah. You are fairly certain that it is probably getting closer, but in comparison to the first time, not that much closer.
Yeah, they're not on us, but
Right. One of those, I don't know if I'd hang out here all day. Like, that's actually a risk.
Yeah. So, Taston, you were taking the third shift, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to go ahead and wake you and be like, hey, so that. And I just.
Yeah, that seems bad. We should probably think about.
Yeah, honestly, two rests. Is that a full rest? Is that how that works? Is that a long rest? Is two sessions, two shifts? God, I can't use words right now.
Generally, a watch is, well, maybe someone can correct me on this if it's wrong. Generally, from what I understand, a watch is about 4 hours. And that's why, you take one watch because you sleep the rest of it. Obviously, Mark, you're going for a short rest. Yeah. It just takes a bit longer.
The relevant point here is that Liam and Taston have now had.
Yes. There'll still be a little extra time, and if they're like doing spell changes or praying for spells, things like that, because there's not a small amount of time which happens after a long rest, which generally we gloss over because it's not necessary.
Yeah.
So in that time, depending on what's being changed, if anything at all, you could try and take a short rest.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do exactly that and not even have the third shift. And let's just get the hell out of Dodge. You guys get the hell towards the surface. I'm going to get the hell towards Gracklestug because we need to not be here anymore.
Yeah.
All of us need to not be here anymore.
And I will say this, Mark, based on the howlings and stuff, you will have to head in that general direction.
Yeah, no, I figured this is going to be an avoidance scenario, not a push through it scenario.
If you're going full out, it will not be possible to stealth. You will actually have to move at a slow pace in order to do that.
I know, but I can.
Okay.
I'll be carrying people anyways, and I have a really good stealth. So
okay.
Unless the GM is telling me I shouldn't split the party, in which case I'll make that work.
No, I mean, you could do whatever you want to.
That's not, no. God, see, that's GM speak for, you can die however you want to. I'm not really picking.
This is high level. There's no training wheels.
Yeah, no, we're a little 8. Did we level?
No, not yet.
God damn it. I'd say, Bahamut, give me levels.
No.
I lost.
Have a negative level. By the way, if you have a maximum HP reduction at the end of a long rest, it goes away.
Okay, cool. Stealth mode engaged.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna, be like, all right, Bren, Ron. I'm gonna say my goodbyes to Ron. I'm never seeing him again. Like, Ron, I'm sorry I broke your ankle that one time.
Oh, it's okay. I understand.
I felt bad about it ever since, honestly.
maybe I won't feel bad about being a strong fighter.
I say, you know what? That's a good philosophy, Ron. Remember that when you go take over the tribe.
If we meet in battle, which I don't think we will, but if we do, I will try and kill you.
Okay.
I will not hold back because I know you're a strong fighter.
No, that's that. I take that for what it is worth. Thank you, sir. And I
But
give
you're
him like,
welcome in tribe anytime.
and so I'm gonna like, I know this sounds weird. I'm gonna attack him,
Okay.
but I don't actually like. There's no maliciousness here, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
This is
Make
like-
an attack roll.
This is gonna be the goodbye punch, just one punch.
You
That's
do bloody knuckles.
that's a 21 to hit.
Okay. You hit him, he dies. No.
No,
Wow.
All this time, all you had to do was just not do that.
I knew it.
Mhm.
I rolled a 1 on the dice, but that's still 7 damage. So
Okay.
damage. I have a lot of plus to hit right, or plus to hurt right now.
So let me ask this. Are you expecting him to hit you back? Or are you giving an indication you don't want that?
No, he can hit me back. He can hit me back. I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready for it.
So he takes it, and then he definitely likes this play. So he's going to
Ready.
I think he's missed.
I'm going to
maybe not.
deliberately
No, I'm
not
sorry.
dodge.
I
I'm gonna
forgot
deliberately not dodge.
Rot's kind of a beast. No, I mean he still does a 20 to hit.
Okay, that will actually hit. So
All right. And he just punched you, so that's 6 damage.
okay. Yeah,
It's like
yep, no, and I'm just grinning. That's the goodbye, right?
next
there.
time both of our punches will be even harder.
Yep. I'm never seeing you again. All right. And I am going to roll stealth right now. That's an extremely high. That's going to be like in 20s. And I vanish with the myconids in hand.
Okay.
And that's me.
So we'll get back to you in just a bit.
And we will never see Mark again. My warlock is on the surface right now. Okay.
Meanwhile, Lear, let me move Myconids and Mark over to the side to signify that they are going to a better place. And
Go live on a farm.
yeah, they're going to go to the farm where they're going to be happy. Don't worry, they're fine. No, you can't see them or call them. So, the rest of the party, you are actually much smaller in size than you've been for quite some time. Cuillin, Bran, Glabagul, Rot, Aston, Liam, and the wagon. You know the general direction.
I thought Glabagul was going with the myconids.
Oh yeah, Glabagul's coming with me. Though that's not going to work for
and-
stealth.
That's 100% not going to work with stealth.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. You're right. That was the plan until I heard the roving gangs of demons. So I'm sorry. That plan has now changed. Glabagul's going with you guys. I can't take him.
Is Glabagul okay to be on the surface?
I mean, people might go, but you know.
Yeah, Glabagul has no aversion to sunlight.
Then not a problem. Then.
Your charisma score is his defense on the surface.
He's fucked.
Yep.
Well, I mean, honestly,
Like immediately.
compared to a lot of other oozes, the gelatinous cubes do have a practical purpose. They're good cleaners.
Mm.
If you want something to clean your dungeon, it's not unusual to have a gelatinous cube that roams around. Okay. So you've got this group heading towards what you presume to be the path to the surface that has been pointed out to you. Okay. So are you making normal pace, slow, fast, trying to stealth, anything?
I would say probably normal pace, but stealth.
Unfortunately, you can only stealth if you're going at a slow pace. That is the catch.
We do have the cart though, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, you're like a day from the surface. Remember, you're much closer than I am to my goal. So it might be worth it to just book it, you know?
Why don't we put Glabagul on the cart and
Make a run for it.
Well, yeah, I mean, make the best time that we can.
Okay.
All right. So you cart up Glabagool. You all get ready and head out. All right. So,
And they never saw them again.
yep, that's the end of this. Sorry, nobody ever returned. No. So, the surface group. You start traveling down ways that you haven't been before, but the path is fairly obvious. Now that you know where it is, because the Durgar pointed it out. It's smaller than the routes you've normally been used to, but still wide enough to accommodate the cart. Not rough enough that you would have to leave behind, although there's a few places where you're like, oh, this is a little rough going. But it's okay so far. Bren seems a little on edge. You see, like, he keeps doing the ear thing where he pokes it back behind him, and he will say that I still hear the sound from back behind us, the sound of the demons, but it seems to be getting more distant. So we're either outpacing them or they're not going in this general direction, or both. You do also notice that you are moving in an upwards direction. It's not a massive incline, but you are definitely going up. So you travel for some hours like that back to Mark's group. So you are stealthing along, traveling for several hours. The whines, moans, and screamings of the demon is definitely getting closer the further you go. And the place starts to really, really smell bad. And I don't mean like brimstone smell bad. I mean like actual, like, disgusting stenches. You see that on the ground there has been many prints that have gone through this area, probably since you have passed here. So wherever this demon group is, they have gone through your path, but either through luck or on purpose have not come down this area. Maybe they already know it's destroyed, maybe not, who knows. But you know that they are definitely roaming around this area. Now, what was your stealth roll?
25.
25, okay. So far, there hasn't been anything that has alerted to you, nothing that you've seen. You've just been hearing the stuff down the tunnels and obviously trying to avoid them. Unless you just want to go and see.
I do love going insane while carrying fungi. That's a great combo.
Mm-hmm.
Just picture it. Yeah.
One thing you do also, one thing that starts to become a little more evident is also that the shouting and the screaming, you notice after traveling for a bit, it seems to have a weird effect when you are traveling around areas that have some phasers flying overhead, as if the phasers is still doing its flowing thing that you saw before. But after listening to the yelling for a few hours, you are fairly certain that some of that is being amplified and in a weak way projected through the phaserus, as if it is some very weak, like, for lack of a better term, loudspeaker system, as if it's carrying the demon's madness to other areas in the Underdark through the phaserus.
No, yeah, that tracks. Do I know the route back?
Yeah, you're pretty sure you know the route. You've been down there before, and honestly, it's fairly easy to follow if you know where you're going.
Okay, good. Well,
I think Mark has enough wisdom to not be lost at this point in time.
Yeah. So, I mean, I didn't have enough wisdom to go down into a pack of roaming dudes. All right, so that's the game plan honestly isn't going to change unless something else gets in the way. I am stealthing my way down.
All right, so for next time, there is actually a homework thing that I'd like people to think about.
The bog of eternal stench.
Uh,
Sorry.
I'd like you to think about, if you do reach the surface, what you would plan on doing, like actual more long-term rather than just immediate goals.
I'm going to eat a whole bushel of apples.
I don't need an answer right now, just something I would want to rattle. I mean, if that's the ultimate goal, that is what it is. Maybe that'll be pretty easy to attain. Probably will be. But just in general, if you're like, okay, like for example, I know Cuillin and I need to go to temple and do that, but assuming that happens, what's the plan after that? Or Liam, like, what's the plan after you get to the service? Or Mark?
I'm going to Gracklestug. I know exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
My plan is quite laid in stone, actually, at this point, if you think about it.
Yeah, and at least, I mean, in a perfect setting, drop Cuillin off at the temple. You get better. I'll be back. Go back to Gracklestug. Continue what we're doing.
You said you'd do the grass sun thing. You promised me.
Yes.
Okay.
With that happening, of course, then going back to Gracklestug, we do our thing. If we're victorious, then back to the surface ultimately, and then on with our lives. But if like things go sideways, or if we have to like travel the Underdark for a while, I mean, this could be the long-term goal of this group, is to basically inadvertently become local demon slayers of the Underdark. We seem to be okay at it.
Okay.
Wait, I've got it. Long-term goal. Hit level 9.
That's a long-term goal?
We have killed a dragon and an ambush team. Well, we've been level 8, and we are not yet level 9. I'm just saying.
We got things to do.
Long-term goal is to make it to whatever level I get reverse gravity at.
Oh, no.
What level is that? Hang on.
That seems like a bad idea. You should not have that spell.
Let's look that up. Hang on. What is that?
I think it's like 14 or something.
I'm looking. It is a 7th level spell, but I don't know when you get it as a wizard. So
I want to say it's level 13 you could start doing that.
Either way, that is can I read this out loud? Do you mind?
Yeah.
This spell reverses gravity in a 50-foot radius, 100-foot high cylinder centered on a point within a range. All creatures and objects that aren't somehow anchored to the ground in the area fall upwards until they reach the top of the area when you cast the spell. A creature can make a dexterity saving throw to grab a fixed object it can reach, thus avoiding the fall. If some solid object, such as a ceiling, is encountered in this fall, falling objects and creatures strike it as they would during a normal downward fall. If the object or creature reaches the top of the area without striking anything, it remains there, oscillating slightly for the duration. At the end of the duration, they fall right back down. A little more funny outside than in the Underdark, but still.
Yeah, still, though, if you can find like a perfect 100-foot high ceiling, that's 10d6 on the way up, 10d6 on the way down.
Yep. Wow.
Plus, I mean, it disables a whole lot of creatures for the duration. And there's a dexterity save if there's something to grab onto.
Yep. And you know what's really cool is you could do a thing where like, all right, Mark, go in there and remove all those rocks. And I could just run through and do because I have that punch attack thing I could do.
Right.
So, and then just run through and then leave the zone, and then you do it, and there's nothing they can grab onto now.
Well, the rocks would fly up with them, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, but my point is that the rocks are no longer adhesed to the ground, so they couldn't grab the rocks. So now they just have rocks, debris going up with them.
It's one of those save or suck spells for sure.
Level 13, by the way.